This Mike Leach edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by MyBookie.ag. Right now, MyBookie is offering up to $200 in free bets using the promo code SGP200. That's right, up to $200 in free bets with a 1x rollover requirement. Use SGP200 to play, win, and get paid at MyBookie.ag. We're also brought to you by PlayBalto, the #1 office pool hosting site. PlayBalto is fully customizable, easy to manage, and most importantly, free. If you're running a football pool this season, make your life easy and do it on PlayBalto. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com and click the PlayBalto link to sign up today. Finally, we're also brought to you by Sean and Colby. Sean and Colby are taking their stand-up comedy up the coast of California, August 22nd in San Francisco, August 23rd in Santa Cruz, and August 24th in Eureka, California. Go to SeanTGreen.com for more info. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer dog?
Oh, just juiced up on this new intro music, Sean.
Oh. Loving it. Rave reviews from the fans. And again, hit up Carl Restivo. Give him a follow on Twitter. He's doing stuff with Tom Morello. You might remember him from Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're what? 2 steps removed from having Rage Against the Machine do our theme song. Pretty badass.
Yeah. That is pretty badass.
I know I say listen a lot, but it's a tool I use for emphasis because I actually put on the theme song today just to get pumped up for this podcast. If you're watching on video, you can already see we have a Washington State Cougar logo up. We have Colby Dant, the Dantabasin studio.
What's up, guys?
Welcome. Called you up a little early this year.
Yeah. By the way, Prophets of Rage. He's in a group with Tom Morello's in a group with the guys from Cypress Hill and Public Enemy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny how that brand of music is getting old. Like we're now old guys because we're into into Rage and.
I'm surprised you haven't.
Timeless,
I'm surprised you already haven't hit him up yet, trying to get to Be Real from Cypress Hill's weed strain that he does in Selmar.
What are you trying to say? Please.
To me, and quick sidebar, but to me, that first Rage Against the Machine album was all-time classic. If you're a younger guy or girl, you have to download that album. Just like one after one, or just hit after hit of just like these hardcore jamming. I remember I took that CD.
What year was that?
I think it's 92
or something. Yeah,
super. Yeah. I don't think I probably listened to it in 92. I was probably still listening to like Ace of Base and Salt and Peppa, but picked it up a few years later.
Mental note, explore this deeper in the future.
I brought that CD, and I had this guitar teacher who was just like a super hippie guy, very long flowing hair, long beard, would sit with his legs crossed and had this big guitar, and he would just jam away and noodle. And I brought in the CD. I'm like, can you help me learn this CD? And his just mind was blown.
Nice.
But the guitar work was amazing, and he was just like, this is cool. But he wasn't like a metal guy at all, but he appreciated the crazy pentatonic scales.
There you go.
That you get in Rage Against the Machine.
Wow. Okay. We went there.
Speaking of the machine, Ryan, the free content machine, a.k.a. the Sports Gambling Podcast and Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is chugging along. And it's a 2-part formula. One part is you, the listeners, the readers, clicking, downloading, rating, reviewing, subscribing. The other part, the people that are shoveling the coal into the train to make this thing go, is our pals over at MyBookie.ag. They're the presenting sponsor of the podcast, but truly they are a partner. They help keep the lights on, and we actually have lights on because we're doing video now. YouTube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. And listen. All this stuff, it's free. You know why it's free? It's because of MyBookie.ag. They're giving you free content. They're giving you free deposit bonus. Give them your business over at MyBookie.ag. Get in that $100 NFL Super Contest. Guaranteed first place $100,000. No rake. Every dollar entered is going to the contestants. Go to MyBookie.ag. Use the promo code SGP200 to play, win, and most importantly, get paid. Joining us on the line, the head football coach for the Washington State Cougars, Mike Leach. Mike, appreciate your time as always. How was practice today?
Well, we haven't had it yet today. This is because now you have these mandatory off days, which I don't think are all bad. And this is ours for this week. And then so we'll practice the rest of the week. We practiced last night and had a really good practice. And it was a long practice last night where, you know, we have longer periods since it's early in camp. And we have more add a period or two too, and so I thought it was really good. You know, I mean, the one of the important things of a good team is that they compete and everything back and forth. And generally speaking, at the end of the period, both the offense and defense have something to be pissed about.
Get a little fired up.
That's usually the sure sign of a competitive team. Well, where everybody's half happy and half mad all the time.
Yeah, your former player for the Cougs, Andre Dillard, he just got into a little scrap over at Eagles practice. But as a coach, do you see that as a good sign when you have these little training camp fights?
You know, I don't mind it too much. There's a point where if there's like in team or something like that, there's a point as you get closer. We clamp down on it because it's a fine line. You don't want to curb the aggression, but you have to have the discipline to function in a game situation, and that's what you're practicing for. You know.
Yeah. Do you have a timeline for when you plan on naming your starter as far as the quarterback?
I don't really have a timeline, you know, but the thing is just in the interest of best utilizing the reps. I mean, I have to do it pretty soon. You know, but we have three guys, any one of which can win. And, you know, and I guess that's what's tough. I mean, it's very positive for our team, and they're great team members. And of course, what's difficult for them is one of them's going to get most of the reps, and then the others are going to have an important role on the team, but they're going to be backups. And it's kind of like, you know, there's a saying, mental toughness is having the ability to do what's best for the team when it may not be what's best for you.
Now, Coach, last time we spoke, this is Ryan here. We discussed Bigfoot a little bit, so we wanted to get this out there. No chance that you're just holding out hope that Bigfoot walks on and becomes your starting quarterback in 2 weeks.
Bigfoot would play both ways if he happened to walk on. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I've got a Bigfoot. A guy gave us a Bigfoot that we have moving around our football building up there a little bit, and you know, stick him in the window here and there, that type of deal. And
keeping an eye on the players.
Yeah, we actually broke him out. This guy came out and you know, Bigfoot there at one of the speaking events. Anyway, so now I've got one that I move around the building that looks out the various windows, you know.
I like it. Managing expectations.
Keeping an eye on everything. Now, Coach Leach, I also saw that you did this past semester you were involved in teaching your own class, Insurgent Warfare and Football Strategies. What kind of stuff could a student learn there?
Oh man, that was a great deal. Well, the thing that was how it all evolved was I've got a friend of mine who's a former state senator who used to work for the State Department, and he taught insurgency and counterinsurgency classes, and he comes to practice, and he's one of them that'll take enough interest to actually watch the meetings and still be interested, even when perhaps I'm kind of worn out with my own material, you know?
Yeah.
And he says, you know, football and how this is coached and taught is a lot like insurgency and counterinsurgency. And so we started to discuss that, and he said, you know, people, this would make a really interesting class. I say, yeah, it would be an interesting class. You and I would enjoy it, but I don't know if anybody else would. And the first thing we'd have to do is make sure they know the definition of insurgency. And so, but we did decide it would be really interesting. And then he says, well, tweet it out. He says, just how many people would be interested in a class on comparisons of strategies of insurgency and warfare and football tactics. And so, in our high-low, I said, well, some people would be for sure, but I'm going to say it'd be under 100. And he said, well, it'll be over 100. So we send that, we tweet it out, and it comes back 46,000.
Jesus.
And how about that? 46,000. And then, initially the school kind of scoffed at the idea,
Yeah, they don't have a classroom that fits 46,000.
Well, and then they talked about doing it online, and then there are other logistical problems too, because the semester was going to start, and then the other thing is I understandably had to be gone significant portions of the semester recruiting and whatnot, and so it had to be kind of in a block, a block class. In other words, the end of the semester, and so we did it during spring football. Because it was guaranteed I was in town. And when 46,000 were interested, the president became interested in it and decided it would be a pretty good idea. But what was best about it was, all right, so, Mike Baumgartner, he'd say the part and walk them through insurgency, and that was, whatever the subject was for the particular class. I would draw parallels in football and have some film clips, and that'd be my portion. And then we always had a guest speaker, and some of these guest speakers were really amazing. I mean, like guys that had been in Iraq, Afghanistan. One of the most interesting stories, perhaps, was we had a gentleman that worked for Homeland Security and had been instrumental in the shoe bomber investigation and the Boston Marathon bombing. And so, the guests would talk too. We had the, Air Force survival specialist, and, just some top notch speakers. So, then me and Mike, we're sitting there captivated by the speakers that we brought in, listening to them. And then, of course, talking to them afterwards was really fascinating. And then we had some of the great quarterbacks, Washington State talk, Mark Rippon talk, Jack Thompson talk. Jack Thompson did an outstanding job. Gardner Minshew not only attended every class just because he was interested. Gardner Minshew attended every class, but we had him speak also.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Well, and speaking to military strategies and football, I just watched a video about the 1999 Red River Shootout, where it walks through that you created a fake play sheet when you were at Oklahoma and had a player go over and kind of drop it over by the Texas bench, hoping that they would find it, see your fake play script, and then try and call defenses to stop it. It was successful. They seemingly snatched up the plays, and you guys got out to a 17-0 start. What was the inspiration to use that fake game script?
Yeah, that was actually, we did talk about that in class, and showed clips of it and clips of the game, where you see him totally biting on the wrong side and
that
things
must have
like
felt
that.
so good.
Well, it was pretty hilarious. And the other thing is one, knowing that you were up to something helped alleviate some of the tension, because OU Texas is an intense game. And then, and at OU, we weren't exactly a loaded gun at this point. We were just a decent team. And so, yeah, Cale Gundy and I sat around. It was late at night, one of those deals where you're too wound up to go to bed, but too tired to be much more productive. And so we started talking about dropping a fake script. And one of the most important things about dropping a fake script is one, it's got to be fake, but it's got to be close enough in terminology that it sounds like it's real. Like it needs to sound like it's a real play, and direct them to the false direction of what you haven't matched up with that you want to run.
Yeah. Could you tell during the game when they kind of realized that you weren't sticking to that script and they were just going to call their normal defense? Was there a switch in the game where you realized, okay, our advantage is gone now?
Yeah, it was somewhere before the half, I think. It was somewhere before the half. And the funny thing about that was awesome was it was almost like a total anniversary event because I didn't realize that Tom Herman had been on that staff at Texas when we did that.
Yeah.
And so I guess he was a GA. And so then we did well at Oklahoma. We laughed about it for years, but didn't know what happened on the other side. Never knew what the receiving end is. Speculated, guessed, wondered. And then then Herman brought it up. Says, "Oh yeah, all kinds of things happened in this. One time, they dropped a fake script, and so then as that." And then they interviewed both sides, and so which was really pretty interesting, I think, for both sides was to get the story out, what exactly happened, and because then everybody got to know what the giving and the receiving ends were thinking on this thing.
Yeah, it was a great interview series.
Coach Leach, you haven't tried it again though, because you were up 17-0. I would think, why not try it again and later at a different time before the story had broke?
I had thought about it a little bit, and to be honest with you, one of the reasons was because we weren't sure quite how effective it had been, and one thing, and so ESPN or somebody, they actually interviewed Carl Reese, who I think was one of America's great defensive coordinators, and as good as any defensive coordinator that the University of Texas ever had. So they interviewed Reese, and he confirmed the whole thing, told the whole process, everything. And our biggest goal was, because Texas kind of breathed in fire and, really had some strong players and just kind of take the edge off and make them think about something other than us as they're in the locker room right before the game, and hopefully confuse themselves a little bit and
get in their heads.
And just nothing more than, well, what should we do with this? Well, I don't know. Well, screw it. We just have to call what we have. And we thought that's about as far as it would get. But no, it was interesting though to hear their thoughts, and I'm sure they're fascinated to hear ours as well.
I'm curious to switch up a little bit here. I'm curious your thoughts, because I cover college football for us, and I'm not a big fan of what Larry Scott's idea was. And the Pac-12 has, I don't know if you know this, Mike, over the past 5 years, they have the best home record against the Power 5. I believe the number is they're 20-2 at home against the opposing Power 5s. And Larry Scott, he's got an idea that he wants to do a 9 a.m. kickoff on the West Coast, which I think is just a horrible idea. And I'm curious your thoughts on this idea.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another thing where I got a number of Twitter bites on. I asked who was interested in 9 a.m. kickoffs. Well, nobody's interested.
Not 46,000 people.
And I think there was some crazy number like that too. No, nobody's interested in 9 a.m. kickoffs, and I'm not even remotely interested. Like when it comes to doing something football wise, the considerations is what's best for the coaches and the players and what's best for the fans. And 9 a.m. is neither of those things. And, I mean, can you imagine being a fan? Let's say not, or let's start with a player.
Yeah, you'd have to get to the stadium. You'd have to wake up at like 5 a.m. to go through your routine and get to the stadium.
No, or earlier than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
you're earlier than that. You're eating pregame at 5.
Yeah, that's
you're
crazy.
Eating pregame at 5, and so you're up at like 4:30, 4 or 4:30. Well, that on its face is absurd because the NCAA has already come out and you can only practice everybody during these hours, which I think those hours are a little ridiculous. Because I think you should be able to practice anytime. But if they're going to be sensitive of those hours during the week for practice, surely they're going to be sensitive of it for a game. Because, the NCAA and the powers that be and the establishment and the athletics and the NCAA, the athletic swamps, so to speak, would never do something where they would put financial interests ahead of student athletes.
No, they gotta be studying.
First of all, they have to get up at 4:30 a.m. Okay, then your stadium's going to be empty.
Oh yeah,
because then we're a big tailgate location. I mean, people like anytime we talk about having a game on a neutral field or playing one of our opponents in Seattle because theoretically they were around a bigger audience or something like that, they all get upset because they look forward to their road trip, the tailgating experience, and this campus literally becomes divided up in tailgate neighborhoods. And this notion of excitedly going to the game at 8 o'clock in the morning, that doesn't appeal to anybody in these that's interested in coming back here. And then look at a fan. Like, okay, so you and your buddies are looking forward to the big game. And so what are you going to do? Oh, I know what. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll bring the scrambled eggs. You bring the bacon, and we'll meet at my house. We'll meet at my house at 7, and we'll live it up and whoop up and have the good life
after a Friday
so we can
night.
Watch this game that starts at 9.
Yeah, Coach. Let me speak for the fan for a second. I went to school in the South at Virginia Tech. You're not eating pulled pork at 7:30 in the morning.
Come on.
It was a struggle enough to get to noon games as a college student. This is absolute blasphemy, and I am in full support of not playing 9 a.m. games.
Well,
please.
in those guys. Well, yeah, that's another thing. The student. So here's what the student did. He said, "All right, well, there's a game tomorrow, but I could have fun with all my friends." and there's really hot-looking guys running around this campus. There's really hot-looking girls running around this campus. Yeah. No, but I'm going to that game, and so let's see, I'm going to have to be up at 7. So you know what? Oh man, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going home and going to bed. I mean, they're not going to do that.
Well, said by no one ever on a college campus.
Why would you take away, aside from all these great points we're making, Larry Scott, as head commissioner of the Pac-12, he has the same data that we have, and we can see that they have by far the best win percentage at home against the other Power 5. Why would you take your best advantage, apparently, is your home atmospheres against the other Power 5, and try to change that?
Well, I don't know fully whose idea it is. I don't know if it's Larry's idea or not, but I don't know whose idea it was. And then, of course, and a lot of times TV comes up with this stuff. They'll come up with some real zingers to, then all of a sudden you add it all up, and the only people benefiting is them. But so I don't know who came up with the idea, and I'm a guy that's not opposed to analyzing ideas because I hate all this political correct crap permeating our country right now. But okay, we've analyzed the idea. It's not a good idea, so it's out. That's the way I look at it.
Mike, you're talking about tailgating. and your team this year, what would be an ideal game to come up and tailgate and watch the 2019 Cougars?
They're all good. They're all good. And then the other thing that's kind of exciting is, we get a variety of weather conditions, generally mild, but I'll tell you what, that's the biggest thing. And I don't get to do very much of it, just sort of driving by after the game or something. But they say the atmosphere outside of our stadium is just outstanding. I mean, you go through all those lots and, they got music, stuff's cooking, all kinds of stuff going on. And then our game environment's excellent too. We're kind of like, for lack of a better description, we're kind of like, we're sort of like, I suppose, what Wrigley Field or Fenway Park is to baseball, because
Nice.
It's a smallish stadium, it's tight, and it's loud.
Yeah, those are some of the best places to see a game.
Sean, a good friend of mine who went with me to Blacksburg, Virginia Tech, compared it very much to Blacksburg, smaller stadium, but very loud.
The small college
very
towns,
intimidating.
Those are the fun places. But, Mike, in particular, this team, are there any guys that you're excited for their 2019 season? What you've seen them in camp, or just looking ahead, you're high on them and you're excited for them?
Really, all of them. Nobody individually. And in the past, if you say anybody individually, it's had a funny effect of cursing them.
Oh, you don't want to jinx it. I like
and
that.
And then then like the freshmen. And a lot of times they'll turn on to be great players, but you never know how the freshman's career is going to unfold exactly, and maybe they're not ready to play or something like that. So I've often not predicted that right. I think our defensive line is very quick. We're smallish, but we're real fast. I'm curious to see that unleashed this season. We got most of our receivers back, so I'd like to think they're a year better.
How do you feel about the schedule? I see you got a matchup in Week 3 against your former assistant Dana Holgerson, who shockingly left West Virginia for a Power 5 school at Houston. How do you feel about? Have you ever faced off against one of your former coaches?
Yeah, I lose track how many. I actually have quite a bit because I've had a ton of these guys out here, but in some form or fashion. But yeah, I mean that game was scheduled before Dana was there, and it's really I think it was scheduled before I got here too. So, but looking forward to a good game down there in Houston.
Yeah, and how do you feel about Graham Harrell? I mean, I know you don't have SC on the schedule this year, but I don't know that I've seen your system. I guess a little bit Oklahoma, but Graham Harrell, obviously offensive coordinator of USC now. Your air raid offense is going to be ran at USC, and you don't get much more talent than USC. So I'm curious your thoughts on how you think he'll do as the OC of USC.
I think Graham will do a good job. Graham's a sharp guy. I think he'll do a good job. He's always been very knowledgeable about football. And yeah, I hope SC beats everyone in the North except that they play, and since they don't play us. And so right there, you got my endorsement to do that. And so I guess for the most part, all except for the final game, I wish SC the best this particular season.
Mike, always like doing research on guests, and came across your belly flop video that was popping off on the internet. How would you grade your own belly flop?
Oh, geez, I'll tell you what. I mean, that situation, that's kind of a tough situation. So you're out there in the pool having a good time.
Yeah.
Enjoying cooling off from camp. And then all of a sudden they want you to do, they're having a belly flop contest. They want me to do a belly flop. And so And I'm not one of those diving board guys, that goes on the diving board, does flips the rest. But so first of all, they called to get you up there.
Yeah, they started chanting your name.
If you refuse to go up there, they're going to laugh and make fun of you.
Yeah,
and think you're soft, and but if you agree to go up there, they're going to laugh and make fun of you, but not think you're soft. And I was hoping I could get away with doing butterfly form or something like that, because none of them can do the butterfly. But oh heck no! And so then, up I went, and up I went, and down I went. So.
Well, that's awesome. Sounds like it's it's a fun team, and really looking forward to the season. And as always, appreciate your time, Mike.
Well, I appreciate it. You guys come up for a game and check it out, and I'm always honored to be on with you guys.
Well, we'll hold you to that.
Yeah, honored to have you on the show, and we'll definitely follow up on that. Thanks again, Coach Leach.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. That sounds good.
Awesome time, as always, with Coach Leach. Give him a follow on Twitter. Fun follow for sure, Coach_Leach. But right now, talking about play ball toe. That's right. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably the football guy. Oh, hey, Sean in the office. When I used to work in an office, oh, he's the football guy. Make him set up the football pool. Make him set up the pick'em. And if you're that guy, and you probably look at yourself, you're like, if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. All right, I got to set up an office pool. I got to have a little bit more side action going. You want a system that's easy to use, fully customizable, that you can track the buy-ins, and you want it all in a easy-to-use interface. It's not going to take a ton of time setting up. Over at Balto, you can get started in 60 seconds or less. And again, they have every sort of option when it comes to pick'em, survivor pools, ATS, non-ATS, straight up, whatever you want, they got it over there. And it's a site specifically designed for the office pool. A lot of these sites, they kind of toss it in as an add-on, not play Balto. Specifically made for office pools. If you're running one this season, make your life easier. And go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com and click the Play Balto link to sign up today. Good times. Play Balto. We gotta get some contests going, man. It's football. My football juices are flowing.
People
I'm
have
jacked up.
It started, Sean. I've started the hey man, you gonna be running that pool this year?
It does remind me of that Dave Chappelle gif that's on the internet where he's like scratching. It's like, hey, you got any more ways to bet or pools or stuff to get on? I'm sure we'll have a bunch of stuff coming throughout the season. Colby, I know you're trying to get a college football fantasy thing going.
We got it rolling. If anyone's interested in joining my college fantasy football league, you can play against me, NC Nick, and Patty C. Just give us a nice iTunes review, either of our, the Sports Gambling Podcast or the network.
Yeah,
doesn't make a
both.
difference. Yeah, both, hopefully. And let me know who you are on social media, and we will get you in the league, and you can win some prizes. Free entry, but free after the comment. So if you leave the comment, you're in.
Exactly.
So we can't we let Colby come on to our airwaves, our video waves, just to one up. We can't let him one up us, Sean.
No, we won't.
The SGP. We weren't planning on announcing this, but SGP Fantasy Listener League. I don't know, Sean. Are we both going to have a team? Are we doing a joint team?
Well, why don't we do a joint team? Because I'm probably going to give up halfway through the season.
I assume that you're going to need my management.
Yeah. I got to get my nephew back on. He was awesome. He co-managed a bunch of teams.
That is key.
So a $100 league.
I'm testing. I'm testing the little one out. Testing the little one out, letting her go and manage a $40 league this year.
Nice.
For some reason, I can't get out of it, but anyway. Sean, will we have some SGP personalities in the league?
Yes. Right?
Stay tuned for that. Perhaps Dick Olson. Perhaps.
Oh, wow.
Perhaps. We'll figure that out. But how can people enter? Should we use the same? What is the method?
I think to enter the listener league.
Because I have an idea.
Okay, let's hear your idea.
I need to see a video of you at an Apple store subscribing to the Sports Gambling Podcast
Okay.
on as many devices as possible.
All right.
Or a video of you at Applebee's eating.
No, not that idea. That won't help us climb the charts. Okay, the challenge is out there. How many spots do we have, Kramer?
Let's just say we'll, if we're doing a joint team, let's just say we'll reserve 3 spots for Sports Gambling Podcast personality / friends and family.
Okay.
Should we say there's then 8 spots for the
8
fans?
8 spots. Yeah, like this is MySpace. Your top 8.
Well, should we reserve one of those spots for a guy who sends us beer on the regular?
Oh yes,
Ooh,
Matt Nation.
yes. Okay.
He's in.
God bless that guy.
When you send us,
All right.
I mean,
well, and then I feel like a couple. I feel
6
like,
spots are available. We're gonna reserve 5
6.
spots for VIPs.
Let's just say
It's
6.
a baby fucking wheel, man.
6 will be.
Oh, Boston Cappers' feelings are already getting
Exactly.
hurt.
You
Wants
know
to
he's
know
gonna-
if he's a VIP or not.
So we'll save 6 for SGP personalities and VIPs already entered, but then the other 6, these are you're a fan, you're SGP head, DJ Nation. This is the time to make your mark. This is your training camp. So send us videos of you subscribing to multiple devices,
Yep.
an Apple store, whatever. Maybe it's just a bunch of friends, your guys, your roommates, buddies at a frat, your golfing partners,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Video documented evidence of you trying to game the iTunes system, and you will automatically be entered.
Email us where?
Podcast at sportsgamblingpodcast.com or tweet us at gamblingpodcast. We have 6 official spots open, possibly more, but 6 official spots. Do whatever it takes to get one of those spots because we will have we will certainly have a nice cash prize.
Hey.
and $0 entry fee.
Sean, do you want to be virtually connected to someone who's already done, let's just call it 38 best ball mock drafts? And maybe I'll even talk to you. Get in the league. Get in the league.
You have a chance to meet and greet Ryan Real Money Kramer. And
well, you can
said-
greet me. The meeting part, I can't confirm that. But
we were at 499 reviews,
Oh.
and then we hit the magic 500. So whoever believes they were the 500th rater and reviewer, send in a message at Kramer Centric for your personalized video thank
I
you
will
message
thank you.
from Ryan Kramer. And as always, thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. Rate, review, and share on iTunes. Make sure to check out Play Balto and mybookie.ag, promo code SGP200. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Sports Gambling Podcast Network on iTunes. Subscribe.thesgpn.com. Get those college experience podcasts going for the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
I am Sean stacking the money green, and he is Ryan
Bigfoot's coming, Coach.
Kramer. Let it ride.